When I was a little kid, I often complained about something not being fair, to which my dad would respond with those words that every father says and every kid hates. Whoever said life was supposed to be fair? There is just something within us that from a very young age, we just think that some things need to be fair. Some things are just right and some things are wrong. And when we've been wronged, we want somebody to make it right. This week we're going to be talking about those times when God either won't or can't make something right. By now you've probably noticed that I'm not in Illinois, not this week. I'm in the thumb of Michigan. But still, this is a short midweek devotion from the Littleton United Methodist Church. I apologize if you can't see me very well or hear me this morning. It's turned into a very bright, backlit, windy day here on the west shore of Lake Huron. But when I mentioned something God wouldn't do or couldn't do, I was speaking more from experience than I was from theology. And perhaps my experience will help you this morning or today. My mind goes back today to a time when I felt wounded and felt perhaps like it wasn't quite fair. And I prayed about it. I said, God, make it right. God, make it right. God, make it right. And it didn't seem like God was making it right. And I prayed all sorts of things. It didn't seem like it was working. And I was frightened and angry and growing bitter. Then one night I was out in my backyard sitting in a lawn chair looking at stars, and this new thought came to me. I mean, it wasn't a new thought theologically. It's an old thought, but the thought was that God is God. If He created the world, by His voice, couldn't He take care of my problems? Shouldn't He? I tried my best to be a Christian and it still was hurting. And I realized that God could handle my finances. Now, if you've been around me very much, you've heard me say this before, and it's one of the tips of advice I give people all the time, probably an unwanted tip of advice, but God can handle my finances, and God can handle my future. God can handle the day when I would someday retire. God can handle my health. God could do just about anything, except God probably wasn't going to go in and wave a magic wand and change my emotions. There were some things that God was expecting me to step up to the plate on. And part of that was the bitterness inside of me. That moment was an important moment for me. It didn't mean the battle was done, and it didn't mean that when I got up and put away my lawn chair and went back into the house that everything was going to be easy or that everything was finished. But it was an eye-opening moment of where the real battle came from. That is, the battle was not a battle for my future. It wasn't a battle for my security financially. It wasn't a battle for my career. It was a battle for my soul. That was the area that needed work. I wish I could say that it was taken care of that moment. I laid it on the cross and God took up my burdens and I forgave and let it go. It wasn't that easy. It wasn't that quick with me. It came, and that might be the moment that there began a turn in the battle. And I don't have time in one short devotion to go deeper into that, but perhaps in future devotions I'll talk about how to win that battle. But just let it be known now for today. Enough's enough. That if it's enough to know that if you are battling, that like me with forgiveness, that the real battle's for your soul. Waiting for some walkers to go past that just waved at me and I met earlier this morning. Boy, this breeze is really starting to pick up. Fortunately, it's coming from this direction, so it's not making big waves on the water right now. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I hope so. I hope I've got this mic turned in a way that's cutting out a lot of the breeze, a lot of the wind. Oh, there went my... There went my camera, but I caught it before it got all the way down. Well, I don't have much time left, I don't think, before I need to get back. The church that I visited this Sunday, the pastor said during the sermon, what happens in you is more important than what happens to you. That just fit with my idea for today so well. Now, I know that whenever, well, I think I'm going to have to switch to selfie stick for this. I know that whenever a pastor says something like I'm saying today, and you are just hurting all over, and it's not fair, I mean, it really may not be fair, and you really are hurting, and a preacher says something like this, sometimes it runs the risk of not enlightening us, but just making us mad. I mean, why should I fight with the bitterness when they're the ones that caused it? That's a tough question. And sometimes people can't handle that well, or they're not ready for it. If you are fighting with that bitterness, I've been there. I just want to say that the real battle is not whether or not God can make it right, but what happens inside of you and me. And perhaps at a later date, as I said, we can talk about the processes. But for now, perhaps this can be a moment of decision for you, that you decide you're going to start fighting the right enemy, the battle for your own soul. Well, I hope I found a quieter spot than I had before. The wind is just really picking up. I'm running out of time. So I hope that this devotional has been helpful to you, although it may have been somewhat painful to you. And may God bless you this week. May God make all of your wrongs right. But more importantly, may God do a new work inside of you. of healing and redemption. Even if what is causing the problem was something done to you. That's my prayer for today. May God bless you this week.